Hey everybody, so the 1996 Dodge van, bringing it back from the dead after about 6-7 years, came in here with a blown transmission. We've rebuilt this transmission. It's back in. We're going through all the things we got to go through on the truck to get it running again. But the reason why it ended up here, there was a bad transmission. So I'm getting ready to hook up these lines. We're going to run an aftermarket trans cooler. We're going to get rid of that old one. Let me show you something. They sell this trans cooler cleaner for, transmission flush. So let's see. I'm going to give it the juice. It should push that through and through the radiator cooler for the transmission and come back out this. This is the front line is the one going to the cooler. The back one is the one coming back from it. So let's see what we get. Okay. Right there. See how it's coming out? Leaking right there. There is an obstruction somewhere. Let me try and tighten that up a little bit, see if I can break it loose. It should be flowing out this now, but it's not. Restricted line, restricted cooling, which means that that's why the transmission blew up. The fluid wasn't cooling, and it's most likely plugged up in that cooler line in the transmission because it's pretty small, pretty tight, and that's why we're putting in the aftermarket one. So let me tighten that up, try it again, we'll see. But that's why you should check these. If I wouldn't have checked them and I would just use the old transmission line and just hook my lines back up after I rebuilt this transmission and everything, the transmission would have been plugged. It would have overheated. The transmission would have failed again. So anyhow, make sure you got good flow going through these lines, and it's worth a little bit of precaution. You can buy this off the shelf at an auto parts store. So all right, let me tighten that up a little bit, see if I can get more of a thing on it. Otherwise, I'm just going to disconnect them at the front and blow them both out, and then I'm going to plumb in my aftermarket Hayden transmission cooler. All right, I got the trans cleaner hooked up to the that goes into the cooler line that goes into it. That's one, remember, we were pushing, we couldn't get nothing out of. So I'm going to go over here and hit it. Look at that. Clear, coming out good. Looks pretty clean. So the cooler in the bottom of the radiator is plugged up. That's where it comes in. That's where it goes back out. Somewhere in there, it's plugged up. Won't allow the coolant to cool, and that's what killed this transmission. So that's a good thing to check. A can of that shit stuff is about $13, and it's good precaution. So we're not running that anymore. It really reduces down. If you can see this is quite a, that shouldn't plug up. That cooler should always be flowing coolant through there. So that's why we're putting it on. And if if you guys are doing one of these transmissions, I would suggest doing the same, making sure your lines are blowed out, you know, that you clean the lines, because, you know, debris from the bad transmission are still in those lines, you know, and you don't want to run that through your new transmission. A little bit of precaution, you know, just don't hook it up and go. You know, I would suggest cleaning out your transmission lines before going any further. And if you got a plugged up radiator cooler for your transmission line, just put one of these Hayden. This one's a Hayden aftermarket trans cooler. So I'll be getting into that. I'm going to blow out the other line, the return line, and then same way I did the one, make sure there ain't no garbage up in there, and finish hooking up my transmission cooler. Hey everybody, so hey, yep, got the trans cooler in. The aftermarket trans cooler. I'm gonna fog that black real quick. That way when you look through the grill, you're not gonna see that. You're not gonna see that silver stuff, but see, basically I just ran my lines up through there. Let me get this fogged off real quick, show you what I did, show you what I found out. All right, bye. All right, simple as that. You gotta look a little better. When you look through the grill, you're not gonna see that big silver thing, but basically this is the line coming in on the top, going back to the transmission, and then underneath here, I bought these barb fittings that fit right on the lines, and I was gonna try and bend that out, but I figured, you know, if anybody wants to use this again, you know, you buy a new radiator and you want to use that bottom cooler, comes in here and goes out there, they can. I plan on having it for quite a while, but you never know. You know how life is. This thing was plugged up, as you seen with the trans cooler stuff we had. And the cooler clean, the aerosol can you put on the lines. And so that's been eliminated. I can't get no flow from this end to the other. And the lines were reasonably plugged up too. I got them clear with that cooler you seen earlier. I'll show you what I found when because I put it in a catch pan and I dumped out the cooler. But what I found in there, and this is the pan I used, if you look, let's see if we can get it without making a mess everywhere. This stuff, see that? And this stuff, there's metal in there, but this is mainly what came out. A little bit of metal, but you know what else is in there? Look, there's a big chunk of metal. Form a gasket. Form a gasket. That's why they say don't use form a gasket on there. It's squeezed out and it sucked up through the system. They probably globbed it on when they put the pan gasket on. There was form a gasket on this transmission, and it probably just took out the took it out. So anyways, we're about done. We're done with that. So I think me and Colin are coming out here tomorrow. We're going to work on the brakes. We're going to try and knock them out. And that's it. The transmission is done. That's how I ended up with the old white beast. And you know, the transmission was bad. We rebuilt it. We put a cooler in it. We you know, did some other things, some U-joints. It's been sitting a long time, but it's coming back to life. Just one more checklist off the list. I watched Dave